It is a pleasure to see you all in this wonderfully full room for our very special event. If we haven't met, my name is Kathy Tobin, and you know that my day job is with Friends of the Homeless, but I am here as a member of the board of the Professional Women's Chamber. But we've had a lot of fun putting today's program together, and we think you're in for a wonderful afternoon. So please relax, enjoy the company, and each other. And it is now my pleasure to introduce the president of our club, Janet Casey, from the Marketing Doctor, along with my cohort in crime, our membership chairwoman, Gwen Burke.
Welcome to everyone. Welcome to Storeton Tavern, and to Scott Noonan and Tracey Noonan. Welcome to Western Massachusetts, and welcome to the 413. Okay, so let's talk about Tracey Noonan and Shark Tank. How many of you have seen Shark Tank? Oh, awesome. And how many of you have a special recipe that family and friends ask you to make sometimes? Okay. And how many of you have been on television in front of 6 million viewers trying to get people to invest in that recipe? Anyone? 6 million viewers watch each episode of Shark Tank, which is taped in Los Angeles. The entrepreneurs presenting, such as Tracey, never meet the sharks before their pitch. And the sharks don't know who is coming down the hall until they see them. In 2012, 36,000 people applied to be on Shark Tank, and this year it went up to closer to 60,000 for 60 spots. They have 90 seconds to convince these people to invest in their business, and they will eviscerate you if you don't know your number. Kevin invested in Tracey with $75,000. He got that back in 72 days once her Shark Tank appearance ran. Now Kevin gets a check from Tracey, which runs between $20,000 and $50,000 per month.
So ladies and gentlemen, the founder and owner of Good Cupcakes, please welcome Tracey Noonan.
You that every time I watch that video, I get so nervous still, and I know the outcome. It's just something about that music. I want to first start off by saying it's really quite an honor to be here in a room full of such ambitious, motivated, and like-minded people, women and men. It's an incredible honor, and I'm always taken aback when I'm given an invitation like this. I want you to know I don't take it lightly, and I really think long and hard about what I want to say and hopefully share a message with you. You know, if you had told me 5 years ago that I would be standing here today, I would have told you that you were absolutely crazy. Wicked Good is a product of a very long journey that I have been on throughout my life, and you can certainly read a lot about my business and where Danielle and I have gone, but I thought today it might be interesting for you to know a little bit about my past and my personal life. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to share that with you today. I was the oldest of 3 children, only girl. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad did the corporate thing. My family was a very athletic and really involved in the country club type of family. And I was a little bit of the black sheep because my interest lied more in dance and theater and the performing arts. I didn't get a whole lot of support for my love, so I took it upon myself at 13 to go into Boston and sign myself up for lessons at Boston School of Ballet. I worked as a babysitter to earn money for my transportation in and out of Boston from Milton and to pay for my lessons. It was a really fun time in my life. I loved it. I learned about discipline, and I'm grateful for those days at Boston Ballet for sure. Around my junior year in high school, I went to an all-girls Catholic high school. Everyone was talking about going to college, and of course, all that excitement. Where are you going to go? What are you going to study? What are you going to do? I was no different. I wanted to go to college, certainly. So I went home and I approached my dad and said, I'm so excited, I want to go to college. And he stopped me dead in my tracks and said to me, you're not going to college. you're a girl, you don't need to go to school. After high school, I want you to get a job, and you'll get married, and you'll have a family. I was devastated. Talk about being stopped dead in your tracks, right? But I'm a very persistent person, and I badgered and badgered and badgered my father until he finally relented. Unfortunately, there was a stipulation. I could go to college if I went to be a nurse or a secretary. Well, I was going to Boston Ballet every day. I wanted to be a dancer. So without his knowledge or blessing, I went and auditioned at every performing arts school that I could get myself to. And I was thrilled to find out that I got a scholarship which included housing to Boston Conservatory of Music. My father... Yeah, my father was pissed. He was not happy, yes, wicked pissed, as a matter of fact. But that didn't matter to me. I got into the school and I was going to go. My freshman year, I threw myself into all my classes, all my studies. It was fabulous. I was living the life I wanted to live. And as a matter of fact, ironically, I don't know if any of you remember the movie Fame, but the movie Fame had just come out, so hey, I was Fame. I was living that life, dancing in the streets and attending dance class. I had an opportunity to audition for Boston Opera Company's production of Deflator Mouse, and I was one of 2 freshmen who actually got a part in that production. It was really cool. Unfortunately, my parents did not come to any of my performances. As a matter of fact, they never saw me dance. That was really hard, but I wasn't going to let it be an excuse to stop me from doing what I wanted to do. What actually stopped me from doing what I wanted to do was I ended up getting pregnant. And since there were no pregnant ballerinas performing anywhere that I knew of, it was quite apparent to me that my performing arts dream ended right there. I reluctantly married my high school sweetheart, and within 14 months, I had 2 children, a son and a daughter. They were beautiful, they were a joy to me. And I busied myself with being a mom while my husband went to school. He had received a full scholarship, so he was able to go to school. We had absolutely no money. If I tell you that we lived in a 6-family tenement in 3 rooms, that was my life. When my husband was getting ready to graduate from college, I was pretty excited. You know, we had no student loans. He had a couple job offers, and I figured, all right, well, it's not the dancing career that I had envisioned myself having, but I can go to school and I can still do something. I always wanted to make a mark. I always wanted to be something. I always wanted to leave a legacy, and I figured, okay, I'll find another career, this will be it. Well, my husband was going to work one day, and I mentioned to him, okay, it's my turn to go to school, right? I'm going to go to school. And he looked at me and said, no, we have kids. You can't go to school. We don't have money for that. I'm working. We have to save for a house. You're a mom now. That's your career. So once again, a door was shut, and it was tough. It was disappointing. At that time, I told you we lived in 3 rooms. My kids literally slept on quilts that I folded and put next to the sofa that I slept on. And that night when I put them to bed and I lied on the couch, I thought, there is no way I am raising my kids in 3 rooms. So I took my kids, I got divorced, and I moved into a small little ranch house that was actually my grandparents' house back in Milton. Next door neighbors of mine, when I was growing up, had bought the house from my grandfather, and the woman who owned the house, her name was Natalie. Just as a little point of reference, if any of you have the carrot cake jar, that jar is named after Natalie, my neighbor. She had given me the recipe when I was 15, and I had now come back to her at this point in my life. No job, 2 kids, and this woman saved me from becoming homeless. And This is no word of a lie. I was impossibly late with my rent if I ever had it. And all she asked of me was that I keep the lawn mowed and I keep the house clean. And I did that. Natalie is now since gone, and I can tell you that there's not a day that I don't look at that cupcake jar and thank her for what she did for me. It was truly amazing. During this time, I discovered I had a talent for photography. And it's a creative field. It was kind of exciting for me. I knew I was not going to be a 9 to 5, or that was for certain. And I also knew that I didn't have any money to go to school. So going to, photography school was not going to happen. So I went into Boston and I knocked on doors of commercial photographers and said, "Hi, I'm Tracy, I'd like to be your assistant." I knew I'd get paid, and I knew I'd learn the ropes, and I knew I'd make some contacts, and that's exactly what I did. So with more struggle along the way, I assisted other photographers. And after about a year and a half, I finally had my breakthrough. I became one of the most sought after commercial photographers in the city of Boston. I was paid $3,000 a day plus just to walk on a set and photograph children for advertising. It was great. I bought my first house by myself. My mother helped me save my money. I'd give her my paycheck. She'd put it in a bank account I couldn't touch. I bought my house, I had a career, I bought horses, I did all these great things. I met another photographer who I married. That was actually Danielle's dad. And life was good. And then as fate would have it happened again. Boom. I was a dinosaur overnight. Can you guess what happened? Yes. Digital photography. Remember I said I went to an all-girls Catholic high school? We didn't have computers, we didn't have computer class. The second I heard the word Mac or PC, I started to twitch. I had no idea what that was. And even if I did, I can tell you right now, an entry-level Nikon back in the day was $50,000. Never mind all of the extraneous equipment you needed to go along with it. I was hooked. I went into panic mode. I started to sell every possession I had with the exception of my house. I needed a place to keep my kids. That was so important. I got divorced from Danielle's dad, and I had a really big pity party. But once the pity party was over, I channeled my inner Scarlett O'Hara and I said, "I'm only 32. I can start again. Let's see what I can do." In the meantime, I met my third and final, I can assure you, husband. I got married. We decided we were going to sell this house that I had bought. And to my surprise, the house I bought for $200,000 sold for $500,000. So we had a little bit of a cushion to begin our lives again. My husband started a tech company, and I decided that, hey, maybe I'll go into real estate. And that's what I did. True to form, I not only got my salesperson's license, but I got my broker's license. And I thought, maybe I'll work in a niche market, some kind of niche that I'd be good in. And I figured, why not sell in horse farms? So that's what I did. I had a very successful run. I had clients and customers who trusted me and referred me. I knew a lot about the horse industry, so it made me a valuable commodity. I was doing great. And then it happened again. The real estate bubble burst. Yep. Now all of a sudden, I have sellers calling me in a panic. I'm going to lose everything. My house needs to be sold now. You're the fourth realtor who's trying to sell this property. What are you going to do? All of my clients and customers were now my new best friends, calling me morning, noon, and night. And to top it all off, I did not have good boundaries, so I allowed this to happen. If I tell you I was having Vietnam flashbacks, I am not exaggerating. All of these people's tragedies were reminding me of every struggle that I had gone through, and it just was so unhealthy. I sold my last listing, and I exited real estate. Fortunately for me, at this point in time, Scott's business was doing really, really well, so he said to me, why don't you take a step back, take a breather, figure out what you want to do. And I was very grateful for that, and that's exactly what I did. Played around with my horses for a couple of years, I hung out with my friends, but that nagging voice inside of me always kept coming back, that voice that, you really should be doing something, you need to accomplish something, you need to prove something. So I thought, what can I do that will satisfy the creative side of me, but maybe give me that recognition I'm looking for and make some money? So I decided I was going to start writing. So I did. I wrote 3 screenplays, one which was optioned, and got myself an agent/manager in Beverly Hills, all within a year. It was great. I loved it. I was at home, Danielle was at home, Scott's business was good, and then it happened. Danielle approached me one day and said, I'm leaving school. She had one more class before she graduated as a graphics arts major. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm so unhappy. I'm moving out of the house. Well, normally most parents have their kids leave, and there's a party that ensues after the last child's out the door. But Danielle was a little bit different. She had been recently diagnosed with bipolar depression, and I had recently lost a friend to suicide who I found in her home. It was all hitting a little too close to home for me. I felt this tremendous urgency to help her find herself and to help her get out of this funk, which meant no more writing. That had to go on the back burner. I had to focus my energies on Danielle. We tried all kinds of businesses. I encouraged her maybe to start refinishing furniture and reselling it, to any number of things that would channel her artsy side as well. And finally, out of sheer desperation, she had been out of the house for about a month. I called her one day and said, hey, let's take a cake decorating class together. We can play with some fondant, we can make some fun things, we'll see each other once a week. And she agreed. I think she knew I was worried about her, and I think she knew that it would make me happy, so off we went to cake decorating class. Well, I know I was surprised, and I think she was pretty surprised with how much fun we actually had. And we were making some pretty cool things. So I decided I'm going to start posting stuff on Facebook. I'll share it with family who's out of state. And little did we know, we started getting some orders. Orders started to roll in. Hey, can you do a dozen cupcakes for this birthday? Hey, can you do cupcakes for a wedding? Hey, we're having an anniversary party, that sort of thing. So out of my kitchen, we set up rolling racks. We took a spare bedroom, put 2 air conditioners in it so we could keep product cool in there, put rolling racks in there, and just really started at this business. Now, during this point in time, we're using a regular conventional oven. We could only bake 2 dozen cupcakes at a time. And we started to get some corporate orders. And these were big orders, like 200, 400, 600 cupcakes. So here we are baking 2 dozen at a time in my kitchen. Yeah. So there came the time where we had to sit down and have that conversation. Are we going to keep this a hobby and do this for fun, or are we going to try to make a legitimate business out of this? Enter my husband, Scott. He was the money bags. We didn't have any money. He sat us down and he asked us 3 very important questions. And these are questions I discuss quite a bit when we go out and we speak to people about business. The first question was, do you love what you're doing? Are you passionate about what you're doing? We said, yeah, we love what we're doing. We're passionate about it. We're doing a good job. He said, okay. The next question was, do you think you can be the best in the world at what you do? And we said, absolutely. Our cupcakes are awesome. People are ordering. We can be the best in the world at what we do. And he said, okay. And then the big question, can you make money? And we thought and thought, and we were getting paid. People had no problem with the price we were asking. Yeah, we can make money. So he said, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to give you $30,000. That is it. Sink or swim. And with this $30,000, you can go and start your business. And that is what we did. The two of us trotted off into the sunset. No MBAs, no college degrees, no business background. I am not kidding. That phrase, you don't know what you don't know, could not have applied to anyone better than Danielle and I. So we did. In October 2011, we opened the doors in our Cohasset location. Now, because my husband had a tech company, he was able to build a website for us. And it was a great website. We got some pretty good SEO rankings, so we started having some inquiries about shipping our cupcakes nationwide. And, you know, try as we might, we couldn't figure out a way to ship them where they would arrive fresh and intact, as Danielle said, not squished or looking like a hot mess. And that was important because it was going to cost people, you know, a pretty penny to ship these. So we thought about it, and one night, Scott was up and he saw our show on canning. And the next morning he said to me, "I've got it! You're going to ship your cupcakes in mason jars." And I said, "What the f*** are you talking about? Putting cupcakes in mason jars? That's the dumbest idea." No. Conversation came up again. You know, I really think that you should put cupcakes in mason jars. I really think that's a good idea. No, Scott, no. And finally, much like how I wore my father down, he wore me down. We started to put cupcakes in mason jars, and we beta tested them. We shipped them to family and friends across the country just to see how they would arrive. And people liked them. So that December, we put our cupcake jars online. Of course, no advertising. Remember, we only had $30,000 to start this business. We didn't do any advertising, and to make a very long story short, one of our cupcake jars was confiscated at an airport by the TSA, and we were deemed a national security threat. The Department of Homeland Security was on our website 200 times in the month of December. I kid you not. So that gave us a nice little push, and we started to sell, and we saw some traction, saw a few repeat orders. Then the TSA, in their infinite wisdom, came back out in January and said, "These are not your random run-of-the-mill cupcake jars," defending themselves. And sales really took off. So we had been in business, 3 months now? 4 months? That April, I decided to bite the bullet and apply to Shark Tank. And that's exactly what I did. And we started the long process of filling out a contract that was about this big, doing a video, phone conferences, coaching, till we finally got a date where we were going to fly out to LA and film our segment. July 7th was the date that we flew out in 2012. And the reason that date is so important is because that was my 50th birthday. So one of the things that I'd like to share with you is this. In all reality, I don't think if it had happened when I was 30, I may not have been ready for this opportunity, right? It may have come to me and I may have screwed it up. I may not have been ready. And the fact that I was 50 was kind of exciting for me. I still was continuing this journey that I was on. What makes me really sad is I see a lot of women who put expiration dates on themselves. And ladies, we are not cartons of milk that have a Best Buy date stamped on our sides. There's a lot of women who feel pressured to be married by a certain age. There's a lot of women who are pressured to have children by a certain age. You know those obligatory holiday dinners where people are like, "Why don't you have kids yet? What are you waiting for?" There's a lot of women who consider themselves failures because by a certain age they have not reached upper management status, CEO status. They haven't achieved a career goal. And let's not forget how we feel when we watch a moisturizer ad on TV and all of a sudden we look in the mirror and think, "Oh my God, I'm not 20 anymore," and our confidence sort of diminishes. Men really don't have this issue, do they? I mean, some guys I guess worry about it, but most don't. And that's really liberating for them because they're not all wrapped up in this superficial expiration date that they're putting on themselves. So I really want to invite you to think about where you are at this point. We are all the sum of all of our parts. Every journey we've had, every person we've met, every decision we've made, and trust me, I have made many bad decisions, clearly, as I have shared with you. All of those decisions have led me to this very, very spot where I am now, as all of your decisions and actions have led you to where you are now. And that's really important, because I think it takes some of the pressure off of us to do something by a certain age, don't you think? I mean, I was going through menopause when I went out to film Shark Tank. Can you imagine if I had said to myself, oh my God, I have a, dusty hoo-ha and dried up eggs, I'm too old to fly out to LA to film this show. What course would my life have taken if I had made a decision based on my age? So all I'm saying to you is, don't look back at the past and regret things you haven't done. Know that there's a reason that those didn't happen, and they're bringing you to where you're supposed to be. And you'll arrive where you're supposed to be when you're ready. And when you're ready to accept an opportunity, and even more importantly, when you're able to act upon an opportunity. It's really important that you remember that. So I know some of you have questions, so in closing, I would just like to say to you, if you could take away these few things, number one, I am living proof that any idiot can start a business. Remember that. Number two, you are the sum of all your parts, good, bad, and otherwise. Embrace your life, embrace your decisions, and look forward to your future. Don't put expiration dates on yourselves, don't. And lastly, this is a personal request from me. If you have an opportunity sometime in your life, be somebody's Natalie. Help somebody. Be there for someone who's struggling. Even if it's just a kind word. You certainly don't have to rent them a house for free. But encouragement, and as women, mentoring, helping, encouraging, supporting, taking the time to talk to one another is a really important thing. I go to lots of events and I talk to a lot of people, and being approachable is so important to me because I started just like the rest of you did. So I want you to be somebody's Natalie, because it truly isn't giving that we receive everything that we have. Thank you.
All right, ladies, we're waiting here for your questions. So, do we have some? Jill, go ahead. Jill's got a loud voice, so I know she'll be able to speak.
I have a loud voice. I think you can probably hear me in the back. I did want to let everyone know that we're going to be posting a video of today, and beforehand I had the opportunity to interview Tracey, and we asked her some really fun questions, so we definitely invite you to watch all the social media for PwC, and that'll be out in a few days. I was curious, at the beginning, they introduced you and they mentioned a few of the charities that you give to, and I'm imagining that usually people give because there's some connection. What's your connection to the military, the animals? I'm assuming it's something to do with the horses, but...
Sure, absolutely. So we're huge animal people, first off, and the MSPCA has a special place in our heart because that was the first charity event that we donated to, and we do the tree lighting at the Prudential Center every year. We donate cupcakes to that, and that was exciting for Danielle and I because it was our first outing, if you will, and so it has sort of sentimental value, and we all have a crazy amount of animals, dogs, cats, horses, animals that we've all adopted, so animals have a huge, huge part in our lives. The military is really just a huge passion, again, of all of ours. Several family members have been in the Marine Corps, and I'm going to invite you all to look. This December, be watching for us. We do an event called Taste of Home, and what we do is we give our customers the opportunity to donate a cupcake jar to the military. And we pay for, it's for a small fee, we pay the rest of it, and we ship everything over to Afghanistan. We enlist kids across the country, school-age children, to hand draw Christmas cards. And then our customers, when they donate a jar or 2 or 20, however many, they write a message, and we have an event where we sit down and we transcribe all of the messages into the cards. It's really cool. And then Mass Fallen Heroes benefits from that. So we do have connections. Scott worked with Sean Thornton. Sean's a great guy. He's no longer, unfortunately, a Bruin, but we still stay in touch with him, and he works with cancer patients and Parkinson's disease. So there's a lot that we like to incorporate that has touched us personally and has a special place for us.
And I think all of us just want to thank Scott. Do we?
We're going to bring you a microphone, just 1 second.
Hi. So, my one question would be, why did you go to the Shark Tank rather than to the bank or back to your husband? What were you looking for to gain from the experience of the Sharks?
All right, so first off, I was a huge fan of the show, number 1. Number 2, it is a $4 million commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
The exposure that you receive on that show, if you are lucky enough, A, to get a deal, and then B, to air, is just phenomenal. Well, you heard we did 230,000 the 5 days following our air date. That just doesn't happen. So that was really a lot of the reasoning. We aired in season 4, and season 4 was when the show really had good traction. It was the first full season of Shark Tank, and it was one of those times where you could say to people, "Hey, we're on Shark Tank," and people didn't think it was like Discovery Channel Shark Week. So our timing was really quite fortunate, and really aligning ourselves with someone as brilliant as those people are. That was another goal, having access to a great team, legal team, financial team, all of it. It had a lot of interesting aspects for us.
I'm also a huge Shark Tank fan. I'm a longtime entrepreneurs. I have 2 questions. Given that there's thousands and people who try out, why do you personally think they picked you, or maybe they told you? What was it about your business that they picked? And you mentioned you got a lot of coaching from the producers and the Shark Tank team.
Sure.
Could you speak to what that coaching was about?
Absolutely. So what happens is it's a very long process, and throughout the process, you have signed a $5 million NDA. You are not allowed to disclose anything over the period of time before you air. So we were assigned a production team once we were told that they liked us. And the production team basically helps you take your pitch from a 2-minute pitch down to a 90-second pitch. And then it's even edited further down, because that wasn't our complete pitch. So they work with you to make sure that you're confident and comfortable. I can tell you that the whole experience was amazing. We were treated like gold. They take really good care of you. They want you to be happy and comfortable. So that aspect of it was really pleasant and a lot of fun. As far as our video was concerned, we were just ourselves. We just tried to really to get across our fun-loving personalities. It's kind of a funny business when you think about it, and I do know that Mark Burnett himself watched our video and loved us, so I'm sure that helped a little bit too. That didn't hurt.
Hi, my name is Cody. You guys actually helped me to ask my bridesmaids to be my bridesmaids back in November of 2012, and I think it was the same day you were on Good Morning America, and I was really impressed because you were on Good Morning America that day, and you emailed me still back and said, "Listen, I'm white. Yes, but we'll talk." So I'm very happy to see you guys so successful.
Thank
My question
you.
for you is, what is the ongoing relationship like with you and Kevin?
So our relationship with Kevin is really interesting. We did a royalty deal. He has no equity. And we paid him back in 6 weeks. So my first and foremost fear was, because we actually really like Kevin, was we paid him back, he's getting his money, he doesn't really need to bother with us anymore. So I had a lot of fear that we weren't going to see or hear from him. But that's not been the case. Kevin actually uses us as a case study when he goes and speaks to different universities, and it's really funny. One of the things that he likes to tell people is, we are a family business, and we are, first and foremost. We make all of our decisions together, and he doesn't interfere in that. He actually likes us because we will go to him, not with problems or questions, but with sort of like a plan of attack or action. Like, hey Kevin, this is what we're doing. So in reality, we're not a pain in the ass because we're not saying, hey, where do we get boxes? Hey, what's your thought on this? We go to him proactively with ideas, and he can then run numbers for us. If Scott would like someone to double check what he's run, it's such a great relationship, and we have open access to him. I can text him day or night, call him, email him, and he always gets back to me immediately. So he truly has been Mr. Wonderful.
So what are your plans for the future? Do you have some avenues that you're thinking about that you want to follow?
We do. First, total world domination. We are trying to make hay while the sun shines. We get a lot of television and it's for free, so we have to take advantage of that. So we've been really pushing new product and innovating. This year, I can't tell you much about it, but my 9-year-old niece is joining the team, and she has a product that will be launched. So that's really exciting. She's like my little diva mini-me. So we'll have her product coming out soon. Danny and I just went to LA to film a commercial for something you'll be seeing soon. And again, I can't say much of anything, but we have something else that we're filming. So we have a lot of opportunity television-wise, and we're working on sort of now the unsexy part of business, which is different packaging that will accommodate for more product to be shipped at one time in one box. All the things like that that our customers have been asking us for. We really try to take requests and make customers' wishes come true, if you will, in order to continue to grow the business, grow our product line, and make people happy, because we are a customer service business.
Do you bake them in this?
No, we don't. They're baked separately and then assembled, so they're quite time-consuming.
Just curious, you mentioned your dad early on and some of what he said to you when you were younger. Is he still around to have been able to comment on how successful you've become?
Okay, so this is really emotional for me. It's no secret that my relationship with my dad was not super easy. And my parents had moved away for 20 years. They moved to Florida, and I saw them sporadically. And there was a point in time where I did not talk to my father. I had a really hard time. I am happy to report that my dad and mom are back from Florida, although for sad reasons. My dad has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. But Scott and I have taken them into our house. So we went out and bought a house, and my parents could come and live with us. And we are caretaking my parents right now. So for as long as I humanly can, I'm taking care of my dad. And yes, he is very proud of me. And he does accompany me to help do deliveries to Faneuil Hall, and he helps where he's able. So my relationship has turned around, and I'm really happy about that.
Tracey, the Professional Women's Chamber is very proud of you and very thankful that you could join us today and do such a wonderful, inspiring presentation. So thank you so much for joining us.